So I woke up at 5 a.m. every day from Halloween onwards in sixth year, all the way up to the leaving cert. There's of course days where I didn't do this. For example, holidays I just completely skipped, and weekends I slept in just to recover from the week. But otherwise, I did remain quite consistent with it. So why did I do this? At the beginning of sixth year, I thought I had it all figured out. I came up with a strict routine and I told myself I'd just stick with it. I knew it would be very demanding and intense, but I was like, that's sixth year, you're gonna have to deal with it. So it consisted of me timing my meals, workouts, homework, showers, and study times down to a T. Like after getting home at 5:30 in the evening, I would have no energy left and would not be able to concentrate anymore, but despite that, I would still force myself to study for a couple of hours. It was completely unrealistic for me and I basically quit after 2 weeks because every day when I'd walk home from school, I would just not look forward to getting home. There was more work for me, there was more work waiting for me. It was tiring, I had no free time, and worst of all, it was pretty much ineffective and I didn't learn much. As a result, I stopped studying entirely. I did this all the way up to Halloween and was just not motivated. So when Halloween came around, I realized I had to get my shit together if I wanted to get my course. So I looked for other options because there's no way I was going to go back to that routine I was doing in the beginning of the year. So I knew that there was no way that I would be productive after coming home from a long day of school. So that would either mean I cram in all my study on the weekend, or I just study in the morning. So I ended up choosing studying in the morning. And in practice, it went like this. I would go to bed at 9 p.m. and wake up at 5. I would get up, drink a glass of water, and start studying. The night before, I would write a list of all the things I had to get done, so I couldn't procrastinate on just not knowing what to study. At 7 a.m., I would finish up and get ready for school, so that means I would have completed 2 hours of study in the morning before I even got in my breakfast, and then after school, I would walk home, just watch movies, work out, relax, do anything that's completely school unrelated. And then at 9 p.m. I would go to bed again, and the cycle continued. In the beginning, it took me a couple days to adapt to my new sleeping schedule. I kind of did this in an extreme way. I just decided one day, okay, yesterday I went to bed at 12, but today I'll just go to bed at 9. So I lay awake for quite a bit in these days, but if I would do this again, I would just adjust it more gradually, I guess. Once my bedtime finally adapted, however, it was amazing. Not once did I put off working in the morning, and instead of procrastinating, I just went straight for it. So I think this was because this is like the first thing I used my discipline for in the morning, because discipline can basically be compared to a muscle. It can be trained over time, but it also fatigues the more you use it throughout the day. So in the morning, your muscle is refreshed and like you can do a lot. You can lift a lot, but then throughout your day, when you lift more and more, your muscle becomes tired. And that's why when you use your discipline muscle, if you do it in the morning, you're more likely to go through with it. The further you go through your day, the more decisions you make. So for example, in the morning, either you eat a healthy breakfast or you go with something more tasty. You go to school or you pretend to be sick and skip it. You focus on what the teacher says in school, or you just go on your phone or doodle or distract yourself in some other way. All these things require discipline, so that's why if you try to study later in the day, you're probably gonna struggle with it more. I also realized that what I could get done in the morning in 2 hours would be a lot more than what I would be able to get done after school in the same amount of time. So I realized I was using my time way more efficiently. And the best thing of all I found was that if you study in the morning, you can go to school, and if you're done with school, there's no more schoolwork, there's no more study. You can just go home and you're free to do whatever you want in the evening. And now I'll just mention a few tips if you want to try this for yourself. So, firstly, I recommend adjusting your sleeping schedule slowly. Otherwise, you will have a couple of days where you're just lying awake in bed, and that's not nice. Write a to-do list the night before so you know exactly what to do and maybe even in what order, so you can just tick the stuff off and you don't have to go searching for things to do. I don't recommend doing this if you're sick, as your body probably needs some rest, and if you take off a couple days, that might save you more time in the long run than if you would just try and power through and then carry your sickness on for longer. I don't recommend doing this if you've gone to bed late. You're better off just sleeping in and allowing yourself to rest rather than studying while being tired. And here are a few cases in which I think this wouldn't work well. So, of course, if you're a night person and that's when you're most productive, you might as well just study then. Um, or if you already have to get up to go to school like super early, maybe at 5 a.m. or whatever, you're obviously not going to be able to study at that time.